Austria Comic Con. Mich würde an der Stelle interessieren, wo sitzen denn die Vampire Diaries Fans? Ja, danke. Ich wollte gerade sagen, wir sind nicht in der Schule. Das hört man auf dem Video wirklich total toll. Ich frage noch einmal, wo sitzen die Vampire Diaries Fans? Links, interessant. Und wo sitzen die Flash Fans? Auch links. Dann frage ich noch ein letztes Mal, wo sitzen die COSNETT-Fans? Wonderful, here you go.
Thank you so much.
Please join me.
Is this working?
I hope so.
Maybe? Oh, there it is.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to be here. It's so great to be in Austria. This is my first time here. And I am very, very excited to be here. Honestly, it's day one in Austria. And I'm extending my trip now because I was supposed to be back for a play on Monday night, but my agent booked the wrong flight. So I'm not going to be able to get there. So I'm going to be able to spend some time in Austria, which is really lovely.
So what you're talking about is you need us to give you some tips and advice of what to do.
I would love that.
In Vienna.
Free tickets.
Have you experienced some parts of Austria? Food, maybe drinks,
I had
something
a schnitzel
yet?
for lunch. Is that Austrian?
Yes.
It is?
So, okay, actually you know everything you need to know about Austria.
Great. It was very good, I must say. And also, these little Kinder chocolates, they're like tiny. Anyway, they remind me of my childhood for some reason. The inside is like a white chocolate.
Yes.
You know the ones? They're tiny.
Yeah.
Really, it made me feel like I was in the pantry in Zimbabwe on the farm. We used to have these little milkos. Anyway, it made me very happy. Yeah.
Great, but I think you've made many people very happy with the things
Stop
that
it.
you
What?
do.
Tell me again.
Soon. But what I always think about is when we see you on TV, we already see the accomplished actor. You have achieved things before you got to where you are in the moment that we see you. And what I always find very, very interesting is to ask the question, how did it all start? How did you get into acting? How did you get these roles? And where the fuck did I do something wrong to not be there?
Oh my God, you are hilarious. I mean, look, it was really easy. I just kind of like breezed into it. I didn't even want to, no, I'm joking. I find it so irritating when I hear people say that. They're like, I didn't really want to be an actor, but I just kind of like fell into it. I'm like, ugh. But I'm not bitter. I promise. So it took me a long time. I grew up in the middle of nowhere in Zimbabwe. By that I mean just on a farm outside a small town. And I always wanted to be an actor. My parents used to do like amateur musical theater and stuff just in our district. My plan at one stage when I was like 13 was just to go to Hollywood after school and try and make it, and I'm glad that I didn't do that. Because by the time I was like 14 or 15, I realized, you can go and study acting at university. So that's what I did after school. I went to university and got a degree in acting, and then I was in Sydney for like 6 years, doing plays and little parts in TV shows and a few tiny parts in movies. And then I kept studying, and I met this great acting teacher and life coach who was in Los Angeles, and then I ended up doing his class in LA as well. And that was a turning point for me. I was like 26 years old, and honestly, it was a mindset for me, and I'm glad you asked this question because, I had the training, I'd had experience. I was good sometimes. I wasn't consistently good. At drama school, they nearly kicked me out after first year because they said I wasn't progressing. They kicked a lot of people out after first year, so it was kind of scary. But I just kind of kept going. But this acting teacher in particular, like, changed my mindset. right? So at the time, I was thinking, I don't have enough money to go to LA. I didn't really, I believed in myself, but I didn't have this knowing feeling. I had this kind of nervous feeling all the time about myself. I felt insecure underneath everything about my talent. And he really had all these amazing techniques of how to change your mind into saying the tape that plays in our head all the time, into I can, I will, I know, I see these things, I envision them for myself, and all these emotional exercises where you throw your heart into these mountains that and I just so psyched up by all of it, and it gave me so much energy, so much confidence in myself. And a lot of people who I've met at Comic-Cons actually thank me because I passed that on to them, and then they have since come to this new realization that the things we tell ourselves are so important very often, because we have to be our own best friend, and we have to be our own supporter and hold our own hands through anything, and then you can get through anything, honestly, and I really believe that. And so, yeah, that's where my journey kind of went to. And then in LA, I was there for 3 years before I started getting close to things. Came down to the last 2 for a role on the originals. I was nearly cast in all these different things. I didn't get them, but I just kept going, knowing that I was on the tipping point. And it was terrifying because in those moments when you're under pressure, that's when all the voices come back, like you're not going to be able to do this, you're going to mess it up, and that's great because it's a great challenge, and every challenge that you overcome, even if you fail, you become steel. And even now, I'm going on stage, I'm doing a play at the moment, and even that's terrifying, but I feel more and more invincible the more that I do it and the more that I try, and the more that I fall down and fail, the more I just don't care anymore. Yeah.
And you have to say that acting kind of runs in your family a little bit, because I don't know if you guys know, but Rick has a little cousin that you might have heard of by the name of Hugh Grant.
Yes, Hugh Grant is my third cousin. And everyone's like, they're like, they go, I didn't know Hugh Grant was your cousin, and I'm like, oh my God, where did you find that out? Meanwhile, I was the one who wrote that on my own IMDb when I moved to the USA. Because for my visa, they need to know who you are, and so I updated my own IMDb when I arrived in the USA, and it was like trivia, and I was like, trivia? What's trivia about me? I was like, cousin of Hugh Grant. So anyway, it's my life's goal for him one day to be like, or someone to ask him, did you know that you have a famous cousin? Yeah. But someone did actually tell me the other day that my name is on his Wikipedia, which I find hilarious. But it also brought me together with someone. I was doing a play in Edinburgh in 2019, and these girls we became friends with, we were obsessed with them, these 2 English girls. And hanging out the whole month, at the end of the month, she says, I've looked you up on IMDb, and I saw that Hugh Grant is your cousin. He's actually our first cousin. And we're like, oh my God, we're cousins. So I met these new cousins in Edinburgh, and it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't written Hugh Grant on my IMDb. So he has no idea who I am. But that gives me more impetus to be more and more famous. To finally achieve my life goal. Yeah.
We have a question from the audience. Please ask away.
Hi.
Hi.
My son would like to know, what is your favorite ice cream, anime, and pizza?
Oh, that's such a good question. I remember you. Hi. My favorite ice cream is salted caramel. I had the most incredible ice cream in Williamsburg, Brooklyn 2 days ago. I wish I could remember the name, but Jenny's Ice Cream in LA is one of my favorite. I just love ice cream. I love ice cream so deeply. My favorite anime would probably be very obscure. It's called Thunder Sub. And I watched it in the 80s in Zimbabwe when I grew up. And there was a character called Rick, and he was a twin. And he tragically died in the cartoon. And I told everyone at school in grade 3 that I acted in the cartoon. And half of them believed me. And it was always my dream to die very dramatically on television. And be careful what you wish for, because my dream came true 3 times over. I died on the Vampire Diaries very tragically, and then on The Flash, and then on Quantico, all in a row. But it was super fun as well to have lots of people sad over me, because that's what I always wanted since I watched Thunder Sub. So I would definitely say that one. And then, what was the third question?
Your favorite pizza?
My favorite pizza, oh my gosh, is probably truffle and egg pizza, or it's a Regina pizza, which we used to get in Zimbabwe. I don't know if it's real, but my mum always used to order it and say, "Can we have one Regina pizza, please?" We were like, "Oh my God, Mum." And I also love like a barbecue chicken pizza. I mean, any kind of pizza is great. You got me hungry now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Hi.
Hi, who are you? Oh, I can sort of see you. I remember you from, what's your name?
Valerie.
Valerie.
Everybody starts singing.
Valerie. I'm so sorry.
No worries. I was wondering, are there any funny stories behind the scenes from the Flash set that you are willing to share?
That I'm willing to share. I like. You're very diplomatic here in Austria. I love it. You're very kind. Yes, I'm definitely willing to share a few. I mean, you know, I think when we started it, we were just all so excited to be there, and we hope that this goes past the pilot episode, just one episode, and we're hoping for 13 episodes. You know, so we were all very good friends, and we were all so close, and we were just all in love with each other. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I was in love with everyone else on the show. We used to have dinners together, and it was so much fun. Grant was always dancing in his Flash suit, because he's a dancer, he's a musical theater performer. In fact, we had 3 big Broadway musical performers, you know, Carlos Valdez and Jesse Martin. So there was a lot of dancing, a lot of singing. Grant and I once were dancing between takes, and we made up a dance which we call the syringe, which goes like this, something like this. It's like Thank you. Obviously not classically trained, but yeah, there was so many stories. I mean, you know, when I was in the pipeline, I remember Carlos and Jesse just made up a song, and kind of like a 70s Motown song that went, "Eddie's in the pipeline," and they would always just riff. It was amazing. I think I always just wanted to be a good actor so badly that I'm way too focused on set. But there was a lot of bloopers in the last 4 episodes that I did, actually, that were really hilarious. But yeah, things would go wrong. I smashed all these bottles off. I did a lot of crazy things, actually, at the end of season 9. I think I've sort of relaxed now. But my favorite scene was probably when I was high on painkillers in the hospital, and I think it was episode 2 or 3 of season 1. And everyone was just looking at me going, "You're insane," because I was going way too far. Yeah.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Yay!
Hi.
Hi.
So I have also a question about The Flash. So what was it like coming back to this, basically a family now, after you've been absent basically for a lot of the seasons?
Yes, it was crazy going back. Every time I would go back on The Flash, the real life would really mirror the story, you know, because it was weird. It was sad when I died. You know, it was shocking to all of us. And then I would go back into this like alternative universe, to the same place, into the same character. And it was surreal. I remember Danielle once crying on a table read, because I came in on Zoom because I couldn't be there for the table read, and then I flew in, and it was all very sad and strange and amazing at the same time. Very sweet sorrow, you know, very like beautiful melancholy. So by the time I got back for season 9, so much had happened in everyone's lives. And the story, you know, like Grant has a little girl, Danielle has 2 kids, and Candace and Jesse and Tom and Carlos and all these new people who'd come and gone, and still new people who are still on the show. So to me, to come back and turn into Cobalt Blue, spoiler alert, was so profound, because what they did was they mined all the emotion and everything that could possibly have been, and I really felt very satisfied. Like, it was so delicious. And going back was really, to be honest, very strange. It was like being in a completely alternative universe, and it felt so harsh to come back after all these years and have Barry and Iris have to hate, you know, I thought it was very harsh to them, to be honest. I felt sorry for them, because I was like, now they have to hate me, you know, after all these years, and they've been through everything, and now they have to hate me. But it was so fun. It was so much fun to be able to play all of that, and to pretend that Eddie, finally, he was so good for so long, and he was everything that I always wanted to be. You know, he always rose above everything, and he finally let his negative voice get the better of him. And we all have these 2 voices in our head, just like I was talking about before. You know, and it was genius, because this is what comic books, I feel like, are all about. You know, they're all about good versus evil. And we all have good and evil inside of ourselves. And we all get to choose at every moment which voice we listen to. And Eddie also has this voice. As good as he is, he also had that other voice saying, what about that? Aren't you a bit jealous about that? Don't you want to feel a certain way about this? And then that voice just overwhelmed him, and it was such an honor to be able to play the good versus evil. And then at the very end, to be able to be the one who keeps evil at bay because of the goodness inside Eddie. He had so much goodness inside of him that, you know, the Flash asks him, can you come, first of all, can you not kill me? And second of all, can you come back and basically, you know, keep good and evil existing together? Can you be the, you know, the middleman in between that for the rest of your life? And then Eddie realizes that he can actually be a hero in that way. He can be good by basically saving people for the rest of time, because he'll always be evil in a way, which is why he says to the Flash at the end, you know, we'll always be on opposite sides. And I thought that was such a beautiful thing between him and the Flash, to recognize that now we're enemies, but I still love you, and I still love everyone, and I promise I'll keep good and evil existing together, but I'll keep them away from you guys, you know, in a way. And then go off into the universe, and, you know, who knows what happens after that, after the end of season 9. But, you know, in my imagination, there's a lot more there to be explored. So yeah, it was really bizarre, to be honest, and it was so nice for me to be able to go back and say goodbye with everyone else, because I didn't really get to say goodbye properly, I feel like, because we never quite knew if I was coming back or not. But this time we knew it was ending, and it was ending for everyone. So I felt very grateful to be able to bookend it like that. Yeah, it was nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I have a question about the Vampire Diaries, and the question is, are your teams Stelena or Delena?
Whoa. Those are fighting words, and I love them. Am I Team Delena or Stelena? Well, look, I always thought there should be like a love square between Dr. Wes and the three of them. No, I'm joking. I mean, I love Ian and Paul so much. I think Paul is so hilarious. He's so naughty. And Ian, like, and they're both so gorgeous. It's crazy. I mean, I'd probably be more like Team Delena, I would say. Okay. Yeah, if I'd be, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Do we have more questions coming from the audience at this point? We still have, let's say, 3 more minutes to go. So if you want to take the spot, do it now.
Don't regret it, you guys. Don't regret it. Whoever has a burning question.
Yes, there is someone. Please.
Get up and do that. I used to regret not holding my girlfriend's hand when I was 13. And now, I know, right? And since then, I promised myself I would never regret anything ever since. So that's probably why I'm so crazy.
That's fabulous.
Thank you.
What are your upcoming projects? What are you looking forward to
Well, I'm glad you asked about me. How long do we have? No, I'm joking. Well, I'm doing a really cool show called Palm Royale, which is only coming out in October on Apple TV. I think we might, anyway, I can't say anymore. But the cast is really cool. It's got Kristen Wiig and Ricky Martin and Laura Dern and Carol Burnett and Alison Janney and Josh Lucas and some other incredibly fabulous, weird and wonderful people, including myself. And it's set in the 60s in Palm Beach, Florida. So I'm very excited about that. That'll be on Apple TV in October. And then at the moment I'm doing a play in Los Angeles. My understudy, Tim, is on for me at the moment, which is really cool. And then I've got a film that's out in theaters. It comes out in Europe, I think this week or next week, and it's called Master Gardener with Sigourney Weaver and Joel Edgerton. And then I've got another film called Shoulder Dance as well, which doesn't have a release date yet. Yeah, so it's good, you guys, don't worry. I'm gonna be like super famous, so that all the autographs that you bought are gonna be like worth a lot more. So you made a good investment today. I promise I'll do it. I'll do it for you.
Is there one last question that someone, yes, great.
Do you have advice for someone who wants to become an actor? Like,
absolutely, yes. That's a lovely question. Advice for someone who wants to become an actor. Jessica Chastain recently said something that was so beautiful. They had someone come and speak at their university, and it was. And he was a really famous actor, and he was like, you know, I look forward to working with you one day. And that so inspired her that she gave a speech, I think at the Screen Actors Guild Awards last year when she won, and said, I look forward to seeing you on set. And to me that was so beautiful because it's so inspiring. And I didn't realize how much I also had the potential to inspire people. So to anyone who is aspiring actor out there, I cannot wait to see you on set or on stage with me. But to be honest, you know, if you really, really love it, as an actor from one to another, I would say if you focus on it every day. One of my friends, when I was little, we wanted to be actors in Zimbabwe, and we were standing in front of the mirror dressing up, and she said, Rick, you know, if you want to be an actor, you have to practice every day. And it really stuck with me. I was like, oh my gosh. So I always think about that. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And it's all about, for me, you know, being good at that craft of doing it, because that makes you so comfortable, and it makes people want you, and it makes you very valuable to people. So focus on the thing that you love, the work that you love to do. And for me, it's not about if someone sees it or if they don't see it. Any day that I feel like I get better at acting is a good day for me, because it just feels good, you know, and that's what, at the end of the day, the only thing that will ever make you feel satisfied is that, you know. The other stuff, you think it will make you feel satisfied, but it doesn't, you know, and everyone says it doesn't, but you don't believe them. But just believe them. Like fame and all that stuff doesn't actually make you feel satisfied. What makes you feel satisfied is presenting another human being, another human life. And like Kate Blanchett says as well, you know, it has to be a selfless act, which sometimes sometimes I have been selfish in the past and tried to have, you know, an emotional experience for myself, but you're really just trying to affect other people, and you're doing it to show what the human experience goes through. And so that's the excitement, is being able to create all the facets of that person, and then that makes you excited as an actor. When you feel like it's fun, when you feel like it's interesting, that's when you do your best work, and that's when you work really hard, because the work is fun and it doesn't feel like work. It feels more like just you know, something that your brain is firing on all cylinders, your imagination's going crazy, and then you do, you know, you go with your impulses, and you create this kind of this something that no one else can create. And that's why you become valuable, because you're being yourself. You're doing what you want to do, not what you think someone else might want or what you think people might like. And at the end of the day, that's what people relate to, because we're all just human beings, and we don't even know what we want until we see something that we recognize deep inside of ourselves, you know.
And I think these are perfect,
yes,
philosophical closing words even. Thank you so much for being with us. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick COSNETT!
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, you guys. And now, and now my leg is dead because I've been sitting on it, so I'm going to have to limp off stage like this. I didn't let you get a word in. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
My pleasure. And excuse me while I limp off stage.